Welcome to the Disability Myth, the podcast where we explore the realities of disability with handsomeness, humility, and hamminess. My name's Dominic, and I was born with a fatal neuromuscular condition called spinal muscular atrophy. My co-host, Uriel, and I tackle serious issues, but we don't take ourselves too seriously.
SMA and boats. How did that go?
SMA and boats?
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, boats are just not as wheelchairs. We're here to share stories, break down barriers, and remind everyone that we're not so different. So hit subscribe and let's shed light on some myths. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the
Disability Myth.
Why'd you hesitate? Why'd you?
It's been a while.
Yeah,
I'm
for sure that we've done like 50
I'm a
times.
little rusty.
Rusty, and
And I'm your host, Dominic Trevathan.
And I'm your handsome, humble, and hammy. Dude, stop gobbling laughing in my ear, dang, dude. I'm your handsome, humble, and hammy host, Dominic Trevathan. Alongside me, as always, the equally handsome, humble, and hammy Uriel Ruelas. I can't say it as like sexy as you can, but
I don't think I can anymore. It's been a while. I got so used to people just saying Uriel.
You, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Uriel Ruelas.
Yeah. So obviously, as you can tell, it's been a minute, but we're super excited to be back here doing another episode. And we have some very, 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 very top-notch, very cool people with us on the show today. Actually, we have an honorary co-host tonight. Tonight, it's like 10 in the morning for me. I don't know why I'm saying night. On our program today, we have Dan Rubens, who is the executive director and co-founder of Hear Your Song, which I understand to be a non-profit that helps children with various disabilities and illnesses, helps them produce and write music. Is that about right, Dan?
That's exactly right. Yeah. So honored to be here.
Awesome. So awesome to have you. And joining us today as well, as I said, we have an honorary co-host, Derek. And Derek, for those who don't know or haven't seen our latest episode, which was, I think, a couple months ago, we actually interviewed another Derek and his little brother, Justin. And Derek is I think, essentially also the executive director of a nonprofit and the leader of a program called the SMA Support Mate program, where it kind of pairs up an older adult with SMA with a kid or a child with SMA, and it's kind of like a big brother type of program, and it's been super fun. I've been really enjoying it. I'm super excited to bring on my buddy here, Derek, who works with Hear Your Song. And so Derek has SMA just like me, and we've been talking on Zoom, playing games, just kind of hanging out, watching YouTube videos.
Some Catan.
Playing some. We haven't even played Catan yet. We've been playing Sushi Go.
Sushi Go, yes.
You don't even know the lore, dude.
Oh my! Oh, I know you. I know you kicked. He beat you.
He smoked me.
Monopoly as well, right?
No, not Monopoly. We played Ticket to Ride.
You
don't know about Ticket to Ride.
I don't.
You don't know.
Not about that. I actually don't know.
So yeah, we've been playing a lot of stuff together, and as part of the SMA Support Mate program, we have a project showcase that we work on together. And so Derek told me that he wanted to work on a podcast together, and so the perfect kind of marriage. Derek wanted more people to be aware of Hear Your Song, to learn about them. So yeah. Got anything you want to say about Hear Your Song, Derek?
I met Hear Your Song at Double A Trans. I love it and learned to be a songwriter. Hear Your Song has helped me so much. I'm so lucky to work with them. They give kids like me a voice. Dad, thank you for letting me interview you today.
Thank you so much for inviting me on, Derek. I was so excited when you said that you were hoping for me to join as you make your co-host podcast debut. And I'm so thrilled to share more about Hear Your Song and talk about your experience.
Okay. Shall we move on to our first icebreaker?
Icebreaker time.
Yeah, let's do it. Derek here actually has an original icebreaker question that he's gonna lead us off with.
He cooked something up
He's
devious.
out in the lab.
Yeah.
You were sent to outer space with your enemy, with spoiled food and no clothes. What would you do? What food do you wish you had with you? What is your plan for surviving?
Okay, it's an incredible question. Um, and I don't know if we're all answering it, but I can tackle it first since I've been thinking. And Derek, you help me brainstorm my enemy answer because I was trying to think who is my enemy, but we're gonna go with my enemy is a monster called the Song Destroyer, and the Song Destroyer's mission is to stop people from like gobbling up songs, taking the music out of the universe. So here we are, Song Destroyer and me in outer space. Um, I wish I had applesauce. Applesauce is my favorite food, so I would really love some applesauce in outer space, and I feel like Song Destroyer might be into applesauce too. And I think the plan is to try to persuade Song Destroyer to use his powers for good to make music and to because if he can like regurgitate all the songs that he's gobbled up together, like the sound of all of these songs can like reach Earth and bring bring people from Earth to rescue us. I'm just kind of figuring that out off the top of my head, so I'm not sure if that's a successful plan for survival. But I feel like, at least with my Hear Your Song experience, I know how to like get people who are reluctant to create songs to get into it. So I'm hoping that Song Destroyer, even though he's coming from a place of really hating songs, might be into it. So that's my answer.
Such a thought.
Yeah,
That's
that's a lore, yes.
that's
I do that.
that's an A1 answer.
Yeah.
That
We're building the lore, yeah.
I even think about making my own like
is rich,
yeah, I
yeah.
didn't even think about making my own character or any of that. Just like I was
Yeah.
thinking too realistic, like
Yeah.
oh like who's my enemy in real life?
We were talking about it earlier, and you were like, "What, the HOA or something?"
Yeah, something stupid. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about this overnight because
Yeah.
Uriel and I got on call last night, and we were going over the outline, all the questions
Mm.
we were gonna ask and be asked, and I I think I landed on a professor I had at UCLA, um, my philosophy of logic professor. And for those that don't know, philosophy of logic is it's like it's a philosophy class, but it's very mathematical. And so you have to do all these problems, like P is greater than Y, and explain why P is greater than Y. That's the most basic summary I can give of it that I vaguely remember.
Remember, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I failed that class. Hand on the Bible. I'm just gonna come out with it.
I remember. Yeah, you talked to me about
I
it.
really struggled with that class. And I went to office hours and I had questions. I asked my professor and he used the Socratic method. So you would ask him a question and he would ask you a question meant to help you answer your own question. And I could not answer correctly the question that he gave in return to me. And so as a result of that, he took his notebook and he booped me on the head, on
Did
the
he?
top of my head, with his notebook. Like, take the pillow, like
Oh.
illustration here. Yeah, just like a gentle boop on the top of the head. Boop. Yeah, like that. Not that many times, but. And I just felt like so astonished. I don't know if you've seen like the stunned Pikachu face. I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, did this guy really this you really just hit me on the head with this notebook? There's no way. So I think I was destined to fail, and that would be my number one op. I guess not number one, but it's kind of hard to go to outer space with like a staircase because I think that would be my number one enemy.
Imagine going to space with a philosophy professor.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Talk about
Oh
lore.
my God.
You want to talk about lore? I'd have to write a book about that, you know? Um, so I'm sent to outer space, with my philosophy professor with spoiled food and no clothes. Um,
Mhm.
I think my plan of attack would be just to manipulate his logical reasoning
Mm.
into like into getting us back to Earth somehow. Um, I think maybe I would like I would what food would I wish I had? I don't know. Probably like something that lasts forever. Something like Twinkies, because I expect to
Mm,
be there a long time, you know?
mm,
And like as far as I know, like Twinkies last forever, so they're made of like microplastics or something.
mm.
They're like indestructible. Yeah, I think that would be
That's something.
my plan. I don't think it's
That's
as cool as Dan's, but you asked the question. Now we got to ask you, Derek. I hope you have something you'd like to say.
So, my enemy is SMA. That's spinal muscular atrophy. So starving it would be great. With no gravity, I wouldn't need muscles.
Hmm.
I would be lighter without clothes. I'd miss eating Kit Kats and licorice. I'd probably not survive, but the chance to float in space would be worth it.
That's a valid,
hard.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, dude.
Your plan for survival is just like have fun until it's too late.
Great answer, Dan. Exactly.
All right. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
Let's keep it rolling. If you were a wrestler, what would be your entrance theme song? Like, say you're getting to the Royal Rumble. I think it was in like Saudi Arabia this year. You're in Saudi Arabia. You're getting ready to fight like the likes of John Cena. I don't really keep up with the WWE nowadays, but
Uh-oh.
yeah. What would your entrance theme song be? Anyone can answer.
I would say my answer for this. I'm not really a wrestler or into wrestling, but I have lately begun tap dancing. So I feel like my strategy
Bro.
as a wrestler would just be to bring my tap dancing into the arena. So like a jazzy tap entrance song, like "Singing in the Rain" or something, to like throw them off
Oh,
their game. Just be like,
Roll out the
"What's
red
going on?"
carpet.
Yeah, just really perplex them. Uh, yeah.
That's probably one of the best answers. No, mine was stupid. It's just like again by Fetty Wap or some dumb.
I want you to be
It's
mine,
something stupid. Yeah.
baby. Yeah. I
Oh.
think I've told this story before, but when I was in high school, uh, I did a comedy routine for the talent show, and I dubbed it my sit down comedy routine instead of stand up. Um, but me being the edgy teen I made my walkout song, my rollout song, "Walking on Sunshine," because I thought that was appropriate. So,
Was good.
any
Nice.
any entrance theme songs for you, Derek?
I would have the song Good Day by Forrest Frank. It gets
Oh,
me going.
dude, I love that. How have we not talked about that? Forrest Frank, dude, I could bump some Forrest Frank.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, he's fun. I like Forrest Frank. Good vibes. Okay, do you want to ask the last
Sure.
icebreaker?
If you could go back in time, give a piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
For me, maybe just like chill out a little bit. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like in general, I try to convince myself not to have like regrets about the direction of my life and how things have unfolded, and feel like wherever you're going, like you'll get there, and like don't freak out so much about the journey, or just experience it. Um, and yeah, I think we're still on the journey. So,
Yeah.
um, that's the advice I give to myself from 5 minutes ago too. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah,
it's
ongoing.
yeah, it's paralyzing because it's almost inundated with too many options and too many things going on. Like you're like, oh, is this the right way to go about it? Because
It's
it's
like,
just so like an assault of information of anything.
yeah, I think about it like life is kind of like a video game, but it's a video game like one of those where you have like a bunch of different choices you can make,
Hmm.
you know? Like I don't know if you guys have played like Skyrim and you like talk to like Skyrim NPCs and
Yeah.
there's a bunch of different little things you can say or ask.
Hmm.
I think life's kind of like that, except you don't know the options in front of you, and you just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah.
And I mean, kind of like you said, there's no point in worrying about it and getting all caught up about the what ifs and the
Right.
hypotheticals because, you know, whatever happens is going to happen. So,
Hmm.
what about you, Derek?
Would tell my younger self, don't be sad. You will become a great songwriter. You can write
Hell,
about your
Oh,
sadness. Hear your song will make you famous.
hell
yeah.
yeah,
Hell yeah.
dude.
We're working on it. Yeah. No, I love you will write about you can write about your sadness too. Like you have a way to process sadness other than just like feeling it is a great advice for anybody, I think.
Hmm.
You are an
That's
amazing
cool.
songwriter. It's true.
Yes.
Man, like we heard his music. Oh, Dom showed it to me earlier. It's cool. It's just it's I like it when people do analogies and wordplay and stuff instead of like just like directly saying it. It's kind of
Yeah.
like, ooh, I gotta work a little bit. It's like, oh, you mean like you feel like this? Ooh, it's spicy. I like it.
Yeah. No, can't wait. It's gonna be really cool, kind of seeing how far you go and what you end up doing, and yeah, the the world is your oyster. So, all
Thanks.
right, let's start digging into the main questions we
Mhm.
have here for Dan and both Derek. I think some of them. So, I'll ask this first one to Dan the man directly. What is Hear Your Song more specifically? How did it start? How did you kind of get involved with everything?
Yeah, so Hear Your Song is a nonprofit. We're based in New York City, but we work with kids virtually all over the world, pretty much. And our mission is to empower kids and teens living with serious illnesses and complex health needs to make their voices heard through songwriting and also through music production more generally. Um, and we began when my co-founder Rebecca and I were sophomores in college. I was really looking for a way to bring the music community on campus together in a way that felt more collaborative and less sort of cutthroat and competitive. Um, and just reached out to a bunch of friends and said, like, hey, what if we partnered with local children's hospitals and worked with kids, helped them write songs, and then brought their lyrics and their musical ideas back to campus and sort of brought together all the instruments that kids were looking for, um, and made recordings of the songs for kids. Um, and so it took off as a student club on campus in 2014. And then at the beginning of the pandemic, after we'd graduated, um, we realized that the model could work virtually for kids that were super isolated, for musicians that were newly isolated and had like no idea what to do collaboratively. Um, and we by the end of summer 2020, with a partnership with Double H Ranch Camp, where I met Derek a couple years later, um, we had 50 songs in progress by like August 2020. So I quit my teaching job and was like, I'm going to try to start a nonprofit. And here we are
Yeah.
5.5 years later. And we work with about 220 kids a year. Um, and really, at the heart of our work is just trying to give kids as much power and as much choice as we possibly can at every stage of the process. So it's completely kid driven, as we say. And Derek can certainly tell you more about that. Derek has driven his creative processes in lots of incredible directions over the last, what is it, 3 years now, 3.5 years. Um,
Wow.
and yeah, just following kids in every direction, from writing lyrics, recording vocals, composing melodies, producing tracks, building beats, all of which Derek has done in different contexts. Um, yeah, and it's just really fun to follow every kid sort of wherever they take the song process creatively.
That's so cool.
Cool.
I can't imagine like just the collective efforts of everybody involved, and for it to start out as a club is probably super chill, and then just to see it kind of evolve over time must be really, rewarding.
Oh yeah. This is
Yeah,
stuff.
and some of our original. I mean, my co-founder Rebecca is still the president of the board of the organization, but a lot of our friends that started out with us in college are still involved as volunteers now, which is just really awesome to have like built a community way beyond our small college community over the last few years, but also like most of my friends are like Hear Song people in some way. So just to feel like I've also been able to find this amazing community of like-minded people who want to do similar kind of work through music making and collaborating with kids. It's just been a really fulfilling way to live.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm a big fan of the community aspect, and like I've experienced a little bit of that. Something about music, so like the egos, like the cutthroat.
Yeah.
What do you think causes that? Is it just the egos of the people that attend, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of time opportunities for musicians can be just sort of limiting or limited, and people
Hmm.
feel like they need to be like the top skilled person in whatever area it is, whether that's composing or production or singing or whatever. Um, and I think it's less about the spirit of most artists and more about like the opportunities that they have available to them. And we really tried to build something from the beginning that was sort of like bring whatever you have, whoever you are, and like we'll find a space for it here. And so one of like my greatest joys, as Derek can tell you, is like many of my colleagues are like vastly talented and skilled in ways that I wish I I wish I could compete. But it's not about competing. It's about finding ways to really share all of our skill sets. And I love surrounding myself with people who are musically like way more skilled and practiced in areas that I'm not as skilled and practiced in. So we can sort of do anything that kids imagine collectively. So if a kid says, I really want a tuba player who like specialize in dubstep, we're like, great, we'll like pull that person from our roster. I hope I don't know if that quite we have on our roster, but we could find them. And so sort of whatever, like Derek has requested different volunteers in our community for different songs, knowing sort of what people's skill sets are, what their sounds are, what their genres are, and helping kids sort of cultivate what their specialty is, what their sound is, how they express themselves. Is really fun and feels very different than a lot of the ways that people create art in other spaces, I hope.
No, I appreciate that. I think that's like probably one of the better ways to view creativity in music because it's like I know there's a lot of how do I work like westernization kind of like classical
Yeah.
like structure to music, and it kind of makes people feel like they need to like have that skill or play this way or like do this or compete with other people to make music or even be considered part of a group or whatever. It's interesting.
Go for it, Derek.
Love your organization. It's a cutthroat and lets us be creative.
And this is a follow-up question for you, Dan. What is the process like of getting children signed up with the program?
Yeah, so all of our programming is completely free of charge for every kid and family, and folks can sign up directly through our website at hearyoursong.org/connect. But we also meet a lot of our kids through camp programs like Derek, through hospital partnerships, some school partnerships, partnerships with organizations like the Children's Brain Tumor Foundation or the Immune Deficiency Foundation that are diagnosis specific. And we don't really have much of kind of like a wait list or as I said, like any sort of like audition process or anything. If kids sign up, we reach out and schedule a session, and kids can do as many sessions as they uh, want for as long as they want, and work on as many songs as they want over time. So we have folks who have been writing songs with us for like 5+ years now. And yeah, we do a lot of work with kids who use and all sorts of communication tools. So kind of whatever you bring to the session, we'll make work and sort of collaborate to find the best way to make every kid's song come to life in the way that they want it. Yeah, it's we're pretty flexible in terms of how folks find us, uh, and try to accommodate everybody who feels like they belong in the Hear Your Song community.
Oh, that free of charge. You heard that right. Oh, I was gonna say, wait, repeat that. Wait, what?
Yeah,
Wait.
100% free of
Whoa.
charge.
Dang. Shoot. That's really fun. And you kind of answered the next question like in the same breath. So I think we're gonna move on to like Derek's questions, which are like really, really unique, and I'm really excited to see how you tackle these. I'm really looking forward to it. Take it away, Derek. Drum roll.
Why help kids with disabilities and illnesses? Were you sick as a kid or know someone who was sick that inspired you?
That's a great question. So the sort of like earliest origin story of Hear Your Song is when I was in fifth grade. My fifth grade teacher had our class become buddies with a group of kids who were residents at a pediatric like residential facility in which is now in Yonkers, New York, called Elizabeth Seton. And so basically, like our class would regularly visit them. Sometimes the kids would visit us, and those were all kids that had like pretty serious medical conditions and disabilities, and were basically living at this facility until they aged out in their 20s. And they might have been kids that if we at age 11, if like the kids in my class who were like all able-bodied kids just met them like in the street, might have been scared or uncomfortable or whatever. But the way that the program was designed was really to get to know these buddies as friends over time and not just like drop in as a service project, but really get to know them and connect with them over the course of a year. And that was really impactful for me, or like that really stuck with me. And I got to become close with my buddy Melissa. And then in high school, I did a little volunteering there and like played some piano concerts there and like sang for some of the kids there. So then when the idea of Hear Your Song came to me, that community was already one I'd been in touch with. So that was the first organization that we partnered with. And Melissa was actually still there, was still a resident there who had been my buddy in fifth grade. And just by coincidence was like the first kid that they assigned to hear her song. So we actually got to write a song with her in 2014, which was like 9 years after or 10 years after I had met her first, which was so cool. We still have that partnership today. Actually, like as we speak, we have volunteers and staff who are like at that facility. And yeah, so for me, I think I don't really remember the thought process that led me to the population that we work with particularly, but I think it was that I already had some connection to this organization. And I think that what's been really remarkable for me about our mission is that over the last, from then forward, so 12 years, from the college origins, our mission has really grown around the communities that we work with as we've gotten to know them. And a lot of that's been driven by kids and families and clinicians and advocates who have taught us a lot about how to best serve the communities that we work with and support all the kids that we collaborate with. And so I feel like our mission has gotten stronger and clearer, and more specific, because I've sometimes felt like this is not something that I have a like personal experience with. But I've really gotten to know a lot of people and try to listen to like how we can best help and support. And we certainly have had a number of staff members and tons of volunteers who have experienced chronic illness and disability in their own lives and have sort of shared that with us and helped us strengthen our work with kids, to better meet everybody's needs and give everyone what they're looking for.
Wow. Thank your teacher. She's wonderful to have done that for your class.
I know I will. I'm still in touch with her, and I do try to like give her a shout out, because it really was kind of I do sort of feel like it was a direct line between like her teaching and all of the work that we've done at Hear Your Song. So, as someone who used to be an elementary school teacher myself, big shout out to all the teachers.
That's such a cool story, such a cool, origin story. A lot of the times, a lot of what we talk about on the podcast is, we just want people to see each other, disabled or not, for what they are, human beings. We're all people, right? And for some reason, there's this taboo when you see someone with especially a visible disability. like that they're different, that they're not human somehow. And so I think that's a really cool story that, at such a young age, you were just buddied up with all of these, people with disabilities or illnesses, and it says a lot about, what kind of person your teacher was and what kind of people that she wanted all of, her students to be. So I think that's really special and it's so cool. It's enough to make a grown man cry.
No, I
Uh,
agree.
I think that deserves a say.
What?
Oh yeah, that story is beautiful. It's just that's why we need more stuff like that, especially like at an elementary, middle school level, because I was speaking to like my younger cousins and like I don't know if it's this budget cuts, federal shenanigans, but just like a drop in those day field trips that I used to take as a kid down to the museums and all that stuff.
Mhm.
It's just like 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 more exposure to like everything, different communities around the world. Like, it's just like I don't know how hard it is to add like fight or advocate for those trips now. Just like so like just going down to like a museum of tolerance or something.
Yeah.
Because like that stuff's like life changing. It's really important.
Most people are uncomfortable with people who are sick and avoid them or stare. You surround yourself with kids who are different. Is that hard? Do you ever feel sorry for them or get uncomfortable? You never act uncomfortable, but I think it's normal the first time to feel badly or uncomfortable. How do you handle those emotions?
I think that's like such an incredible question, and I think it's something that I think I get. I sometimes people ask Hear Your Song folks questions like that, but usually I don't think any of our youth songwriters have asked that before or really had that conversation with us. But I think for me, the answer is that like I think I'm most uncomfortable in situations where I feel like I'm not understanding what a kid is trying to communicate or I don't have the tools to do that. Um, and it makes me feel really bad if I know that someone is trying to communicate and I don't know how to hear what they're saying and don't have the tools to do that. Because really, at the end of the day, like our work is just about trying to like find the best ways for kids to communicate whatever is inside them that they want to share in song. And if we're doing that, like it's a really joyful experience, and um, we are meeting kids sort of in a somewhat kind of like isolated songwriting creative environment, where sort of all that's sort of central to our experience is like that work to help kids express themselves. So I think I really only feel uncomfortable if I feel like I'm not able to do that because I don't have the tools to access what kids are sharing. And I feel like there are specific examples at Camp Inspiration, which is the camp for mainly for kids on ventilators, where Derek, you and I met, where there have been times where there are some youth songwriters who you like communicate sometimes by like tracing letters on like a tabletop, and I've like had experiences where that songwriter I'm thinking of in particular has felt really frustrated because it takes a really long time for people to get what he's saying, or it might be like he like it's so clear how he's trying to communicate and that he is trying to communicate, but when people are taking a long time to get it or just like aren't seeing the words right, that can be really frustrating for him. And then I definitely feel like really bad or uncomfortable in that situation, not to be able to sort of engage in the way that kids want to. So um, I feel like the best sessions are the ones where we like learn over the course of it how to best support kids and hear what they're trying to say. Because I feel I've never sort of articulated in this way, but like the name of the organization, Hear Your Song, is about sort of the kids hearing their song fully produced, but it's also about the people that they're working with hearing the song that kids are trying to share in the way that kids are trying to share it. And I feel like that is sometimes the hardest part, but also the most rewarding and hopefully really meaningful for kids who often maybe don't have people patient with them as they try to express themselves, to learn how they communicate. getting to that point. So for me, it's always really joyful when we can do that. It's just challenging um, emotionally when I feel like I don't know how to to hear what a kid is trying to say.
You think because you went to the hospital, it helps you not be uncomfortable with what we look like.
Maybe. I mean, I feel like I do have just like a lot of experience with with meeting lots of kids who present in lots of different ways. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't really experience it in terms of uncomfortable. I think also because I'm in like a leadership role, I'm usually supporting other volunteers and staff and trying to give them support to feel comfortable in whatever situation they are in, and I'm also aware that um, sometimes they might not have met kids who have more visible disabilities before or communicate in ways that they're not used to. Um, so I feel like I'm always trying to give other folks those tools too to sort of support them in facilitating songwriting sessions. Um, so yeah, I mean, I feel like uh, I think definitely it's partly just like having a lot of experience in lots of different settings and different contexts, um, that it's pretty comfortable and sort of like daily occurrence for me, to meet kids um, who are having all sorts of different experience and presentations and presenting in lots of different ways.
Yeah, those are definitely feelings that I felt when I first started working with you, and I was like,
Well, you thought I looked weird?
no, no, no. It's just like that discomfort of how do I best communicate with the community, and like over time, I've gotten better at it and like more understanding. It's just like it's significantly easier now. It's just like, oh, it's awesome. But I remember that was like one of the few hurdles because like I was already really comfortable with you.
Hmm.
But then as you started branching out into like public speaking and we started going to more and more events, it's just like, oh, now I'm like I have like meeting people of like on like the wide spectrum of
Of
disability.
disability,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, okay. And like just like it's humbling, and I
Well,
feel like everybody, I wish I could take everybody and put them through the process that I went through.
yeah.
It's like,
See, it's not a feeling unknown to me as well as a person with a disability myself. You know, I was, I think 6 or 7 years old when I first went to like junior wheelchair sports camp. And for Dan and for Derek, if I haven't talked to you guys about it already, which I probably haven't, I go to a summer camp every year practically, and it's all kids with disabilities and wheelchairs predominantly, and we all spend like a week at camp. We come home in the evenings, but we go back in the mornings, and there's on average at least 30, somewhere between 30 to 50 of us, and it's all kids with disabilities, all instructors with disabilities, all counselors with disabilities, and it's just this big, you know, event that happens every year. And the first time I went, I was experiencing like a bit of culture shock. Like I myself, even though I was in a wheelchair, I thought it was so weird to see all of these people that looked like me and also didn't look like me. And so it's kind of like uh how do I want to say it? It's exposure therapy in a way, right? Not that, experiencing people with disabilities is a bad thing, but it takes some like a customization to get used to it, like, oh, there's other people like me, there's other people not like me,
mhm.
and that's just how it is. And I think that's really cool to learn that at such a young age.
And
Um, yeah, go ahead.
one of the things that I'm really proud of in the Hear Your Song community is that we have kids who really experience a wide range of both in terms of illness and in terms of disability. Some of them have invisible illnesses and disabilities. Some of them have very visible disabilities. And I think that the ability for kids to introduce themselves sort of first and foremost as artists and songwriters and collaborators, where that comes first, where sometimes people have like heard each other's songs before they've met them or know what they look like,
Yeah.
um, is really cool, and hopefully something that is different than in a lot of spaces where kids might feel more uh, judged first, and like before they have an opportunity to share themselves on their own terms. We like to say like we
Mhm.
let kids define themselves on their own terms beyond their diagnoses, or
Yeah.
or sometimes including their diagnoses as part of how they're defining themselves, but totally on their own terms. Um, and definitely, Derek, I don't know if you've felt this way too, but like I feel I'm always really excited when when other kids are meeting you, um, and I mean, they're like before they even know anything about you, they're like, "You're an amazing songwriter. I'm so excited to meet you. Like, I'd love to write a song with you. You're so good." And that's really cool because I know that like that might not be the experience that you get if you're just rolling up to people and they haven't met you before and don't know all the amazing gifts that you have. So I hope that that is part of what Hear Your Song provides to kids too.
Camp sounds like double H ranch. I feel like to me I'm most comfortable there. At my public school, I'm the only one. It's hard as many stared, but over time they didn't. It still bothered me. That's so true. I'm so welcomed in our sessions with Hear Your Song.
I mean, at camp for sure, it's amazing being part of these camp communities where they've already sort of built that culture, and we can show up to do our songwriting sessions for a weekend or a week or whatever. And there's already such a strong community of kids supporting each other and really sort of knowing each other, in sort of deeper creative ways.
What myths or misconceptions do you think people have about kids with disabilities writing or communicating?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think to me, the the biggest thing that happens with um, Hear Your Song is just the assumptions that people make about what kids are capable of creating. And like I've even sometimes reached out to like parents on Instagram who I see have like a profile where they're like sharing about their kid with a disability or an illness, and I say like, hey, like I saw your profile, whatever, like if your child wants to write a song, they could do that. And sometimes I've heard back from parents and they've been like, oh, my child like wouldn't be able to do that. And sort of helping people who are even like deeply involved in the lives of kids with disabilities, and chronic illnesses sort of redefine what creating means. Like it doesn't mean you have to like write something down with your own hand. It doesn't mean you need to like say something aloud with your own voice. There are so many ways to create and make choices, which is really at the heart of what we're doing. Um, and and sort of finding the ways that every kid is capable of creating and choosing how they're making art, um, is really essential to what we're doing. And I've definitely experienced um, those sort of misconceptions or assumptions in myself, even as many sessions as I've done and as many kids as I've worked with. Like I remember a time at Double H where there was a kid who um, was non-speaking, and I, for whatever reason, just assumed that like we would just make like instrumental music and he wouldn't write lyrics. And then we just like handed him a notebook and he started like writing down all his lyrics. And for some reason, like even though I think at the time I'd already like worked with you, Derek, like I had so many experiences of knowing like you have to like ask first to find out how kids can communicate, but sometimes you're in the sort of like ableist world that we move through,
Hmm.
like you sometimes sort of snap back into making those assumptions that like, oh, if someone's not talking, they're not gonna create language. Um, and I think sort of reinforcing as much as we can within our community, outside of our community, um, not to make assumptions about what people are capable of creating and people's capacity to grow over time. Someone who, whether they're able-bodied or disabled or whatever, we have kids in our community who were like, no, I could never sing on a song, and then like 5 years later they've like recorded an album. Like you never know what kids or adults are capable of growing into and creating over time. So I think the myth that you can like look at somebody and know what to expect from them is sort of the biggest one.
Oh,
That's really cool. That's a perfect way to answer that. Yeah.
yeah, because I appreciate that answer because it's like I find myself in those situations too, and I think it's like you said, that ableist society where we just kind of make assumptions for just like other like like pockets of population that people just like, oh, like yeah, they can't do that, and we just kind of reinforce it. And it's like, and I love your answer so much because it's kind of like, oh no, we shouldn't be reinforced. That doesn't make any sense. Like you
Yeah.
said, like just because one can't speak, it's just like we can't assume they can't make language,
Yeah.
which is like insane. Oh, like this is
Quote of the year.
well, it's just like because
Quote of the year.
it's just like oh, I know you're like you're right, and like my lived experience is just like it just proves everything you said like every day. I'm like oh yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like why do we do that? Shoot,
Yeah.
like why do we make those assumptions? It's like kind of like awful. As a kind of girl, like oh man, right?
I have a question for Derek. Um, a lot of the theme of this conversation has just been communication. Can people do it? Through music. Yeah, obviously the answer is yes. And so I'd like to address, Derek, obviously he uses a voice to speak for him and he has to type what he wants to say. So kind of like how Dan touched on earlier, Derek, about, being exposed to people with disabilities at a young age and how it can be stressful or make him feel bad when he can't like doesn't know how to communicate with them. That's like a shared thing I think among everybody. You get stressed or you get upset, you get scared of what you don't understand. And so what I want to ask you is how you navigate that from like your perspective. When people are obviously like afraid to talk to you, how do you navigate that? Like how do you reassure people with your what however you can that you are in fact, able to communicate? How do you kind of break down those barriers?
Hard. People talk at me and they don't wait for me to answer. They assume I can't talk. I have to get a device, but they don't always wait.
Hmm.
I need someone else to tell them to wait.
No.
Some do, but others walk away. Some think it's not me typing, so that hard. But then I surprise them, say something no one else would know. Then they believe me, like at my doctor. Didn't believe me, and I said my left ear hurt, and it was infected. My mom wouldn't know that, or my song. I write about my eggs hurting. I write about my legs hurting or wanting to die. My mom would never say those things. So then people listen. I just have to keep trying to convince others. That's a stung. Frustrating.
I can imagine. Yeah.
But I keep going. My songs help me the most. So I'm so thankful for Dan and hear your song.
Well, I know we're thankful for you for saying all that and being so honest.
Hmm.
Um, you know, uh, I'm a communication major. It's what I studied in school, and at the root of communication is a willingness on, both parties to listen and reciprocate. And so if people aren't listening to you, or if you have to fight to like make people believe you, then they're not communicating with you. And that should be evidently a basic human right. And so that's why, to add to your point, I think it's so important the work that Dan does with Hear Your Song. And obviously we're super grateful to have, uh, be able to talk to you guys about this in the first place.
And I feel like for me, I mean, Derek, I've thought a lot about sort of like, but not quite in the way that you articulated just now about like how exhausting it must be to like have to convince every single person that you meet that it's like
Yeah.
really you communicating. Like that's so much work. And one of the things that like part of our mission at Hear Your Song beyond giving kids the songwriting experience is also about amplifying kids songs. And I feel like Derek, you've been an amazingly generous partner in like going to events and like showing up at things and like telling your story in different contexts. But I feel like it is really important to our mission to make sure that people like really know what kids are capable of creating, and that like I mean I feel like whenever we can in the hear your song context, it's our goal to like do that work for you of being like, no, here we have proof that Derek's really creating this. We don't You don't need to get it from him, like trust us. um because my hope is that like everyone who hears your song and understands like how you created it with us fully believes that like you really wrote it because you like have incredibly strong opinions and like and express every lyric that you want to write in like beautiful crisp clear ways that like most adults couldn't, and come up with your own melodies. And like it's frustrating to me too if people are like, oh, but like who really wrote it or like did he really do that? Because and I mean I don't we don't hear that a lot, but like the if that's something that like you deal with on a daily basis, like that's something that we're really trying to combat and make sure that people know how much is really created by you and by all the kids that work with us.
Thank you.
Okay, so question for Dan. Along that line of like, one of the main barriers I think in working with, um, or I would imagine one of the main barriers is just communication in and of itself, and working with, kids with illnesses and the kids that you work with, what are the biggest challenges or the barriers, Is it communication? Is it like a shared understanding? Or is it more like physical in your opinion?
um I definitely don't think it's physical. I think sometimes from the like organizational standpoint, it's there's a lot of just like flexibility required in terms of scheduling and how kids are feeling when we partner with hospitals or nursing homes or camps too. Like if kids need more time to get to where we're meeting them or log on to Zoom or things come up in the middle of sessions, just making sure that everyone is on the same page about accommodating all of that. Um, but I do, yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is um, really about communication and making sure that we are um, that we are able to give kids as many choices as they can make, um, and that the I mean we our sort of like active verb in our mission statement is empower, and so we're always trying to figure out stronger ways to evaluate like how is empowerment happening and what does that look like. And because we work with kids with such varied needs and ways of communicating and strengths and styles, um, we we think that empowerment looks very different for every kid. So just I think one of the challenges is just figuring out like, as we've sort of discussed already, like what assumptions am I bringing in about like how this kid can feel empowered in this session, and then like what do they think is possible for how they can feel empowered and how they can engage. And we're doing that like while we're in the middle of writing a song, so trying to make sure that we are meeting every kid where they actually are and not just where we think they are, I guess. um,
Yeah.
and sort of challenging ourselves and challenging all the kids to uh, to sort of challenge our like go as far as we can in taking creative ownership of the process. I sometimes say that we're like make a wish, but we only grant one very specific kind of wish, and we make the kids grant the wish themselves. But yeah, like we're just like how much are we able to put our kids and teens like in control of everything that we're doing, um, and that's true sort of regardless of what kids' medical situation is. Because you can work with an able-bodied, healthy kid and still do everything for them and not give them autonomy. So sort of like whoever they are, sort of how can we do that as strongly as possible?
Now, I have a bit of a personal question because I'm a bit of a music nerd. I'm just like, curious, like how far you've delved into this, but adaptive musical equipment. Have you had to MacGyver anything, or have you like I guess, more or less invented something to like help kids express themselves.
Um, yeah, I mean, we actually just got recently got a grant um, for adaptive musical equipment, so we're like in the process of researching and buying stuff, or maybe so hopefully in some cases like custom MacGyvering things. I know that in some sessions recently, um, my colleagues have been using omnichords in sessions, which allow kids um, to play without like needing to apply lots of pressure to a keyboard. Um, and um, and definitely tools like um, keyboards that are like just like touch sensitive and don't require pressure and or are good for just allowing kids to engage in lots of different ways. Um, I know Derek, and you can talk more about this, Derek, in some of our like peer production groups that Derek's a part of. Um, they've come up with some cool ways to like replicate um, like drum patterns um, by like drawing a grid of the drum pattern, and then Derek can like select where he wants the beat to be. So that's not
Okay.
even like an equipment per se. It's just like a strategy to sort of do what's happening on the screen, but like in the way that's like most accessible. Um, but yeah, we're always trying to find um, I'm trying to think of other examples. Um, I mean, certainly, um, just like we've done some, especially at Camp Inspiration, where we made Derek. We have some kids who we have like violins with us and guitars with us, and giving kids the opportunity to just like strum or just like push the bow up and down while someone else holds it. Just like ways of giving kids access to instruments that might not really be adapting the equipment, but adapting the way to play them to like not limit how kids are engaging with instruments um, is part of it. Yeah, Derek, are there other tools that we've used in sessions that you've used that come to mind?
While he's typing, I was just imagining, the drum grid box that you can just tap. There was a reel I saw the other night of like Kanye making the make it harder, make it faster, like that
Yeah.
song, the stronger, with the Daft Punk beat.
Or
And I can just imagine like Derek like with the same
the
setup.
the
Yeah,
pads.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That I think adaptive musical equipment's like really sick, especially the Omni chord. I've seen that. It's pretty dope. You push one
Yeah.
button, it's like those are really cool. The name's eluding me. I think it's David Becker that does the visual lip composition. And I think he was an 80s metal musician. And I think they have, oh, I forget their condition, but they still compose music. Maybe before I get too ahead of myself, I should probably go
Mhm.
to.
Well, Soundtrap and other programs make it more accessible. You also let me tell you or volunteer when you play it and I give feedback. I have some instruments I need to show you, Dan, that would be great for hear your song.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'd love to see what you got. We're gonna be like increasing our supply of accessible adaptive instruments in the coming months. So would love any suggestions that folks have. There's also lots of like eye gaze technology that maybe I've met with some folks who are designing some technology that's sort of made for video games primarily, but can be like retrofitted to be for keyboards too. So um, stuff like that is really awesome. We haven't sort of
Have
implemented
you
that
guys
yet.
seen those like Jayco arms, like
Oh
on
yeah.
wheelchairs?
Hmm.
Like I wonder how troublesome it would be to like try and play an instrument with a Jayco arm. That'd be kind of
Yeah.
fun.
It was Jason Becker.
Jason Becker.
Jason Becker. So forget the name I mentioned earlier. It's Jason
I already
Becker.
cut it.
Oh, okay, perfect. Awesome. Bap.
Great, let's do that soon. Yes, eye gaze has instruments. I have arms for my chair. They nice but hard to use.
Mm, okay.
Cool.
Dang, even Derek's got the tech. He's got the
Right.
Jayco
The
arm.
ball knowledge.
Dang, dude.
You gotta fight fight with the insurance company.
I need to keep up. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that'd be so sick. I mean, I wouldn't be in frame anymore. It'd just be an arm. And just like, can you imagine? Like, I have to get on that side.
And pimped out.
Pimped out, yeah.
Yeah, he's oh shoot. You can't
Yeah.
don't let him. Oh, you're not gonna let him, bro. You get the arm. Oh
Uh,
man. Drink yourself a little Coca-Cola. Imagine.
yep, just like that.
My school paid for it.
Your school paid for it?
Dang, they did you dirty,
Yeah,
huh?
I need to go back to school.
Yeah.
You know, I could, you know, I should go for my master's. You know,
You should.
uh,
And communicate
yeah. What?
that you need an arm.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then
I think Derek's got a question coming
yeah.
up.
When you met me, did you think I'd be a good songwriter? Did I surprise you?
I feel like you definitely did surprise me for some of the reasons that you've already talked about. I feel like I remember our first session, I was like facilitating it. I guess you were 8, and you wrote a song about camp. I like camp a lot. I can do so many things. A bunny and a horse. So
Yeah.
that was sort of like Adele inspired. But I remember that you're like I think your family didn't realize that it was going to be like how the session was going to work, and you didn't have sort of your device with you. So you were like, your mom was helping you write in a notebook. And I remember in that session, it was like sort of a shorter session, and I didn't get that much time to spend with you. And I remember wondering like how much you were like fully writing versus like your mom sort of like finishing thoughts for you or like guiding your hand or whatever. I feel like for whatever reason there are more sort of like media stories about parents who are like manipulating their children in some way than there are about kids who are like communicating on their own. And so sometimes like that for whatever reason seems like more likely. And then the next summer we did like a 2.5 hour songwriting session with you where you wrote Magical Strawberry Moon, which is like epic, incredible song. And that at the time was like the longest songwriting session we'd ever done as an organization. You've since like broken your own record several times. And I remember in that session there being so many moments, like you said, where there were things that you said that like your mom definitely would have said. Mainly things that your mom was like, "Don't say it. No, you can't write that, Derek." And and also just like how clearly you were making every decision about music and stuff and remembering melodies that we'd done like an hour earlier or whatever. Um, and I remember in that session or after that session talking to the Hear Your Song team and being like, wow, I didn't fully believe or didn't fully get that that was like all really Derek creating all of the choices. And obviously I've known you a really long time since then. But I think that I definitely feel like you did surprise me, I guess, based on my initial assumptions. Um, and uh, and I feel like I've learned a lot. I think that you like working with you has like taught me a lot and taught like our whole team a lot about how we approach all the kids we work with, because and about how we talk to like our volunteers who are coming into sessions for the first time about how they approach kids because they might we can if we can avoid people making assumptions from the beginning that is like saves us time and like is like gets to the good stuff faster. And yeah, I mean, I try to assume that everyone can be a great songwriter, but you've certainly turned out to be like honestly one of the best songwriters I've ever met. Like I go to a lot of like musicals in New York, and like you're a better lyricist than like 90% of what I hear. Derek, I'll just tell a brief Derek story from our last session. Derek, right now, I don't know if you want me to leak this, is working on a musical that he's writing himself. It's like kind of like a song cycle about zoo animals, and we were working on a song from that last couple weeks ago. And Derek wrote a lyric and then was like, "No, take that out. I hate forced rhyme." it needs to like feel authentic to the character, and then like wrote an amazing lyric instead of it. So just like your sophistication as a 10-year-old is insane.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think we led with that at the start of the podcast. You know, Derek's 10 years old.
you're 10-year-old. Which I mean, not that I don't believe in the creative abilities of 10-year-olds. I used to teach fourth grade. 10-year-olds are geniuses, as you illustrate. But yeah, I think that like not only do you surprise me in terms of like what my assumptions might have been meeting you, but also just surprised me in terms of my assumptions about any 10-year-old's creative uh, sophistication and brilliance. Um, yeah.
Dude, we gotta listen to Forrest Frank. Why
Mm,
have we
I
not
don't think I've
listened?
heard it, so
You're not
Okay.
cultured, you're not cool.
yeah, I'm not.
Wow, thank you. It surprised you. I think I'm pretty good songwriter.
Dan, so there's that saying that music is healing, right? And there's a lot of study dedicated to it and how it can help augment the like healing process for people that have been injured and whatnot, or um, those who have disabilities regain what maybe they have lost. And so I ask you, do you have any experience with that? Like, have you ever worked with somebody and like you can visibly tell that their quality of life has improved during the songwriting process or afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, I guess anecdotally, Derek, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you've sort of described your song experience as being healing for you. We often say as sort of a semi mantra of the organization that we work with kids not because they need to be healed, but because they need to be heard. Which is not to say that we aren't hopeful that our work will be healing, but that we recognize that there are music therapists and other people that are really trained and focused in healing and are in our expertise is in the hearing side. And I think that the experience of connecting with peers and with mentors and feeling like your voice is heard is also really a healing experience, and to like have connection in that way um, can be really healing. We do a lot of work involving trauma informed care, and one of the things that has really stuck with me since sort of I was initially trained in that is the fact that like when you're experiencing a trauma, whatever that's coming from, um, that the way that your brain responds to that, it can actually strengthen your brain to be resilient to trauma, and and the sort of defining one of the defining factors in whether your brain actually strengthens as you experience as you process that and face that is um, whether you have supportive people in your life who are there for you, like one supportive adult if you're a kid, who really is there and present for you, and the recognition that like hear your song could actually like improve kids brain chemistries as they deal with medical trauma or whatever else that they're doing, that like the resilience that they like physically build up from having that relationship could be like medically strengthening. um I'm not a scientist or a music therapist, so um, I can't cite any studies off the top of my head. But I think that that's sort of a sort of driving thought for me is the idea that like it really can make the difference for kids, whether at least on the mental health side, sort of how kids experience challenges that they're going through, whether they felt like they were really supported and heard throughout that. And I'll also mention that Derek's been part of a project that we have called Duet a Doc, where we have kids inviting their doctors to collaborate on songs with them. And Derek wrote a song with his gastroenterologist, the awesome Dr. Berg. And our
Yeah,
hope
he
is
was
that,
telling me all about that.
yeah, our hope is that that program can also be um, really meaningful in the patient doctor relationship, such that that relationship can also contribute to healing beyond obviously the doctor's traditional medical practice, but also really to strengthen that bond and connection through the songwriting
Yeah.
process.
And to like touch back on like what Derek was saying earlier about doctors not listening or believing
Yeah,
him. How can you not if you've written a song with
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
that takes a level of understanding, of shared understandings.
Put the duck on the kick drum.
Yeah.
It has been healing for me for sure. It was easier to write about being sad or anxious. Thank you for that opportunity.
Mhm. And so last question for you, Dan. Where do you see Hear Your Song in 10 years? Obviously, you've seen a lot of change thus far, starting as a club, evolving into what it is now. What's your hopes for the future?
Well, as we're now getting past the 5 year mark as a nonprofit, I think we're already seeing uh, folks who started out as kids, as youth songwriters, becoming volunteers when they go off to college, and giving back in that way. So in 5 more years, some of our, or I mean, in 10 more years, some of our youth songwriters, all of our youth songwriters will be young adults, and Derek will be 20. And I would love for a lot of the leadership of the organization to be people who have experienced Hear Your Song firsthand as youth songwriters. So like my dream for Hear Your Song is like Derek, if you want, you could like be on the board of directors when you're I don't know if it's 18 or 21 in New York State that board members can be elected, but like as a young person, as a young adult, to be able to like be in a leadership role and help shape the organization in the directions that you and your current peers are excited about, to me is really important because I feel like we're already trying to be responsive to what kids want Hear Your Song to be, but I think letting those kids grow up into adults who are making those decisions too is super exciting for me. So that's like one of the biggest ways I'm excited for the community to grow. And I like very much trust our current kids to grow into adults who who I would trust with the future of the organization as well.
What? Really? I love that.
Awesome. You don't need to commit right now, but it's there as an option in a decade.
We gotta see one of your musicals on Broadway too.
Yeah,
Like
dude.
yeah.
Yeah, once
We're
you're
gonna
maybe
go all the
EGOT
way
by
to New
then.
York.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Man, it will happen. Dan will produce it.
We're
Hell
gonna make
yeah.
this musical happen. It's really, really. It's the idea is brilliant. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make something happen.
Oh man.
All right. Well, it's been awesome having you, both of you on. This has been super fun conversation. Dan, where can people find Hear Your Song? What
Yeah,
else do you want them to know about Hear Your Song?
yeah. So Hear Your Song is findable at www.hearyoursong.org. As I mentioned, all of our programs are completely free of charge. So if people are able to make a donation of any tax deductible size, they can do so at our website. All of our funding goes into our programming and supporting our kids. If they also would like to hear some of those songs, our YouTube channel has about 500 songs on it, including many of Derek's. And our Instagram and all social media is at Hear Your Song HYS. We also have a Hear Your Song podcast, of which there's about 16 episodes, called the Hear Your Song podcast. And those are on our website too. So you can check out some longer form conversations with some other kids if that's of interest. Um, yeah, so hearyoursong.org is the hub for all of it.
Awesome. Good to know. And yeah, quick shout out to SMS Support Mates program for sponsoring this podcast. No, for
Yeah.
for connecting Derek and I. It's been awesome, working with Derek and getting to know him, and I'm super excited to have this opportunity because of him to, get to sit and talk with both of you about such important stuff. So it's been a blast, and
Mhm.
looking forward to talking more with both of you as well. So
Amazing. And
yeah,
I'll also just add on, if I could, that if folks listening are families of kids who would be interested in writing a song, you can sign up at our website. Or if anyone's interested in volunteering, if you're a musician or you want to work behind the scenes in getting involved in any way, making lyric videos, doing cover art for our streaming releases, we're always looking for folks to join the Hear Your Song community. And so grateful to collaborate with this podcast today.
Heck yeah.
Oh man.
All right, well, if you liked what we had to say today, please leave us that rating, perhaps a nice little review on Apple Podcasts, and be sure to share with your friends and family. If you're not already, be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff
Mm.
at The Disability Myth.
So,
Peace and love, and may the force be with you.
I wish I could. I wish I could. I wish I could. I wish I could. I wish I could walk, hop, jump, run. It would be so fun. I would run all day, go to the playground and play. I would dart, slide, climb, skip. It would be a trip. Bounce, wiggle, sway, spin. Any movement is a win. I wish I could. I wish I could. I wish I could. I wish I could. I am stuck in bed. People help me get fed. Boring most days, all I do is stay. My legs don't move, they just lay. All the time they hurt and ache. So much pain, it's a shame. They want to race, not stay in place. They don't work, I'm so sad all the time. I wish I could. I wish I could. I wish I could. I wish I could. Others run so easily. My toes only wiggle. If only my legs could bolt, dance, shake, dash. Wish I could. So hard to watch others run and have so much fun. I struggle, I cry. Sometimes I wish I'd die. Why, I ask? Cruel and mean God, where are you? I need you, God. Give me strength to keep going on. Lift my soul. Show me some answers. Will I ever walk, jump or run? Show me some answers. When I join you, will I run? I with hate, but love for my family and song helps me go on. I run in my dreams, so good like ice cream, so thrilling, so fast. I would leave everyone in the past. I'd pass you, I'd race you, I'd chase you, I'd dart, I'd fly. Can't catch me if you try. I wish I could. 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 I wish I could.
Others run so easily, my toes only if only my legs could bolt and shake hands. Wish I could. So hard to watch others run and have so much fun. Cruel and mean God, where are you? Just make this is going into the verse. Is that different?
I like it. Yes, good build.
Oh, good build. Okay, thanks. I want to make sure the verse is nice and different, so I can try even more variation if you want.
I look forward to that.
Thank you. This is big. This is like a big song.
It is.
That's a
Yeah.
big song.